Happy July 1st.
Love the sound of that. Yeah. Good to be in July.
I bring it up because teams go through this. For you, what is this off day that you guys had? And now you're here with this run to the All-Star game. I know it's a 162-game season, but you got to put it in small installments. Is this a good one for you guys?
Yeah. It was a huge off day, and then knowing we have 13 in a row till the break, it's an opportunity for us to get it going. It's an opportunity for us to turn it around. It's a fresh start. There's a new page ripped off the calendar. That one got crumpled up and thrown away, I can tell you that right now. But we're close. It's not like we're super far off. We just have to relax and go be us.
I was on a radio program, and somebody said, well, how's this guy so positive talking about you? And I said, well, he just got done playing, and I think he has a pretty good idea what goes through the mind of players. That positive thought process that you have and you continue having with these guys, how important is that to you and this organization to stay in that mindset?
There's never any sense of getting negative. Negativity doesn't do anybody any good. Yeah, we talk about what we're struggling with, and yes, we're truthful, but that doesn't mean it's not positive. Every team goes through struggles. Every team is very different. Every team has a different path to get to the postseason and win a World Series, and we've had a tough stretch. That's what's true. We are not having a bad year. We are not playing bad baseball. We've just had a few weeks where we didn't play at our best. So we're always going to be positive. We're always going to be forward thinking. We're always going to be forward looking and belief in our players that they're the right players to help us win a World Series.
Guy managing over there, Cleveland fans always will think about him all the way to 97. You got to be around him as a player. Craig Counsell, what makes him the manager that he is and the man that he is when it comes to baseball?
My experience with Craig Counsell was one of the smartest, most thought-out, detailed managers. Really cared for the players, but he was all business. And when you get him behind scenes, you could joke around with him a little bit, but the way he thinks about the game, I learned from him how to think the game. And obviously he's been doing it for a long time now. And but I reference a lot of our conversations as I'm getting into this job and learning year to year and things like that. But I'm very thankful for Craig.
Last thing, this ballpark, hard not to be a little kid a little bit when you walk around and look around?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. As a baseball fan growing up as a kid, Wrigley Field is definitely one you want to come to, and fortunate enough to have played here and now get a chance to manage here is pretty fun.
Carl, I usually talk pitching with you, and I will, but we are up against voting for All-Stars. From your perspective, what makes Jose Ramirez an All-Star in your mind?
I think beyond the obvious, which is, looking at his numbers and his offensive production and his leadership in the clubhouse. Probably a lot of people don't vote because of leadership in the clubhouse, but his, playing every day, being our leader every day, and having the consistency that he has at a very, very high level. I mean, to me, it's an all-star. An all-star, you can have 2.5 great weeks and your numbers are, you want to say inflated, I don't know. But the consistency of good and obviously better than average and well above average in Jose's case, I think that's an all-star. And he's an all-star leader as well.
Let me go with this with Stephen Kwan. We made the joke that at home now the wall should be the Kwan wall. We make that joke because people that come in, you may see a film or two, but what he does defensively, I don't think – and I know we have numbers now, but I don't know if they truly equate to what it means for pitchers.
Yeah, I don't – I don't know how to, even interpret the numbers. All I know is kind of what I see and watching the game, seeing the ground he covers. No one talks much about his arm, but, he won a game for us in San Francisco, with his arm. And it's not only arm strength, but the accuracy and the decision-making. He is a baseball player, and he's an elite baseball player, and certainly not taking anything away from offensively, which, we know what he does in the leadoff spot. But, yeah, he is a comfort, to say the least, to our pitching staff in left field.
Let me ask you this. You guys had a pretty decent month of June pitching-wise, and I know this is a team game and you guys want W's, but how do you build upon, and why do you think you guys were able to build upon the first 2 months to have your best month yet in June?
I think it's just a consistency in the guys' work and their attention to detail, their motivation for wanting to improve and be better and be the best version that they can be of themselves today, knowing that they can still get better beyond today. But as you said, it's a team game, and so the challenge becomes okay, we're all getting better. Our performances has been better. Our numbers are getting better. It's not translating into wins, and so guarding against frustration and not now trying to do more than you're ready to do or equipped to do at this point, but continuing to work, continue to be consistent and trust in yourselves. A pitcher's job really, certainly as a starter, but relievers as well, is to give the team an opportunity to win a game, whether it's in the starter's viewpoint of keeping the opposition off the board early, the relievers keeping a game close, protecting a lead. You know, we talk so much about leverage, and sure, there's more higher leverage situations than others, but you really never pitch without it being leveraged, because the leverage may be for our chance tomorrow. So in some senses, it can be a selfish position. But, you know, we're happy with the improvements we're seeing and encouraged by the work the guys are continuing to put in to get better.
Some of the best things that happen in life happen by happenstance or mistake. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I remember last year when Gavin came back, he was trying like the Dickens to try to get a slider down. And I remember the readings would come up weird, and we would go, is that a cutter? Is that a slider? And now, all of a sudden, these last few starts, a cutter has kind of changed his game, and for the better. Now, did that cutter start back a year ago when he couldn't figure out the slider to get us where we're at today?
Yeah, you know, that the slider that he threw last year, that we were calling a slider, we were trying to throw a slider. Fact of the matter, it was registering a cutter. It was a cutter. He wasn't trying to throw a cutter. You know, he worked extremely hard this offseason in January, early February, to get a feel back for a true slider, a slider that's now become somewhat of a sweeper that it gets registered at. And, you know, there came a point in time where we felt like, okay, now can you throw that slider you threw last year and maintain this slider this year? I mean, 'cause Gavin, you know, that's a cutter, and if you can, without it affecting the slider, now, you know, we can really protect your four-seam fastball. And he felt confident that he could do it. We all felt the same, because it was a pitch that he threw last year. He was throwing this year's slider differently, and it was just a matter of going back, you know, to that grip and throwing the baseball. And it's made a huge difference, along with, you don't see many of them, but he throws a two-seam fastball on occasion now. So it's basically got, you know, 3 fastball shapes with high velocity for each of them. Then that makes it hard for hitters to know how to swing at it.
When you say protect the four-seamer, explain to the people what you're saying by that, because the people at home see 97, 98, and they would never say protect. I think I know why you say that.
Well, just the life and the shape. And so, yeah, the 97, 98, I mean, look, that's hard to hit. But major league hitters, they see it every day. And if they know, I mean, they can get to the velocity. What they can't get to is the late ride or the late cut or the late sink or the ball, you know, moving west or moving east. So before, when they saw hard, they knew what it was going to be. It was going to be, in essence, it was going to be straight. Now they see hard. They don't know if it's straight. They don't know if it's going to cut. They don't know if it's going to run in at them. And so to get the barrel to the baseball becomes much more of a challenge.
Last thing, Matthew Boyd, we're going to see tonight. I feel like he was with us forever, how much we all fell in love with him. How do we attack him?
Well, I haven't. You know, it's not my job to go in and break down Matt Boyd. I'm trying to figure out how we're going to attack their hitters, right? But, you know, I think we saw last year, you know, his ability to use his changeup and his slider, and then, you know, he throws 2 fastballs again, the sinker and the four-seamer. Hey, look, to your point, we love Matt Boyd. I'm excited to watch him pitch. I hope that, you know, nothing against Matt. I hope he doesn't have a great night. I hope we get to him. But unbelievable person, and you know, you can't say enough about him. But for one night, we're gonna go get after him.
Yeah, you know, I only mentioned that to you because I saw you talking to Drew Pomerantz, and Maddie and I were sitting here just These are all. Is it kind of like your kids? Like when you've pitched, when you've coached with a guy and you've had a relationship with a guy, and these pitchers are your guys. How do you do you still pay attention to them? Right?
Yeah, you always do. You always follow them and see how they're doing. Some of them do feel like kids. Other ones, they're still, there's a bond, but I think in any, facet of life, some are, you get closer to than others. But if you're doing your job, our job really as coaches, we have to build relationships with these guys, build trust with these guys. And if you do that right, when you see a guy, across the way wearing the opposition's uniform, when they approach you and want to talk, it's a good feeling because you feel like you made a difference and helped them.
How happy are you to be back?
I'm so happy to be back and help the team win. Everything I can do for the team, that's my goal.
What do you think you've learned about yourself in your time in Columbus?
I mean, I learned a lot of stuff. I learned more my mentality, how I gotta play, know myself, know who I can be. So that's the biggest thing.
How excited are you to be able to give this team a little bit of a lift by just being yourself?
I mean, I'm coming here to giving my best energy to this team to help the team win and get back to the postseason. That's the biggest goal.